Good day to you all. My name is Al Hogan. I am currently the Corporate Safety Director for a consultant firm in Pontiac, Michigan called Premier Auto Workers. Today I will be presenting to you a brief video on 29 CFR 1910-146 confined space entry. Now before I get started, I'd like to give you a little bit of my background. I've been doing this work for approximately 30 years. I am certified in health and safety. I hold a Bachelor of Science degree from Oakland University in Industrial Health and Safety. I hold an associate degree from Macomb College in psychology and fire sciences. In my career, I've spent time as an environmental engineer, industrial hygiene technologist, a facility engineer. I spent time as a fire chief in Detroit. I've done various workshops for federal OSHA VPP throughout the United States, and through Eastern Michigan University and federal OSHA, I am a trainer in health and safety. As I say, today we're going to be talking about confined spaces. Now, what is a confined space, or what makes up a confined space? Let's look at the three criteria. One, it allows bodily entry. Done. Also, it has a limited means of entrance and exit. It is not made for continuous occupancy. Now, you should have somebody go through your facility and do what they call a hazard assessment. Define what is a confined space, how many do you have, are they permit or non-permit. Now, in the last few years, there's been 16 fatalities related to confined space entry. 60% of those fatalities were would-be rescuers. And why were they injured and why were they killed? Because of atmospheric conditions. That's the most prevalent. Now, let's give you a classic example. Worker goes down in a confined space, people rush in to save him without proper PPE, without checking the environment, and they go down too. Now you don't have a rescue, you've got body retrieval, don't you? So what can we do to avoid these type of things? Well, one, you'd have to have recognition of the fact that you have a confined space. Somebody's done the hazard assessment, okay? You have to have the proper PPE. You have to have the proper training. And you need to have an in-house, or at least a rescue team from outside to be present, right, with the proper equipment. Why do you want to do this? Well, you want to avoid any injury to your employees, don't you? What are some of the best practices in use today out there to avoid any type of problems with confined space? One, the use of checklists, right? You got somebody out there that says, okay, the proper PPE is here, the person's been trained, the space has been cleared, so on and so forth. You've got a checklist that you use. Also, you're going to make sure you do proper training for all the persons involved, your entry supervisor, your entrant. Make sure that they have the proper training, the person that is attending the space, and again, you must have a rescue team in place. Also, what I've seen a lot of out there today, visual management tools. They actually have a placard at the space, one that defines it as if it's permit or non-permit. It lists all the PPE, your emergency numbers, any atmospheric conditions that would exist in it, and it's a good way to keep that in front of somebody, and it's a good way for them to use that as their paperwork and or their checklist, right? Now, you want to make sure that you have a proper PPE, and again, we need to have a trained in-house rescue team in place, right? Well, why do you want to do these things? Well, one, you want to be a good corporate citizen. Two, you want to make sure that you're cost effective. You want to increase your productivity, so you don't have to wait for this and wait for that before you go into the space itself. And you want to avoid any negative regulatory compliance activity. By doing certain things like we talked about, best practices out there, especially the visual management end of it, you're keeping that in front of them. You're going to avoid, any negative regulatory compliance activity, and you're going to save employees' lives. Now, there's going to be other videos presented to you in the near future. If you've got any questions for me, please give me a call at 248-583-2420, or please visit our website at www.premierautoworkers.com for more information. Again, I want to thank you for your time. I'll be talking to you real soon.